Tom, HPE announced that last week that they're jumping into the private 5G market with a splash. They acquired Athonet, a company that has been providing hardware for core mobile networks as well as private options for enterprises. Athonet has been in business for over 15 years and has 450 customers. The private 5G market is projected to be $1 billion industry in just a few short years. HPE had previously been partnering with the private cellular pioneer Celona, and HPE announced that customers who had purchased Celona hardware through HPE Aruba would continue to be supported. Tom, why did HPE go with Athonet, and what does this mean for Celona?
Well, I think that's interesting that they picked up Athonet. I think that the two biggest reasons were one, that it was an Italian company, so it allowed them to use some of that offshore cash that a lot of the companies have kind of floating around out there to make this. And of course, my favorite terms of the deal were not disclosed, which means that it wasn't material to HPE's bottom line. So infer that with what you will. The other thing is that when you look at the fact that Athonet's been doing business for 15 years or more now, they've been selling into the core provider market for a long time. And then as CBRS came out, it was, a little bit of a transition there to being able to offer private LTE and 5G offerings to enterprises who are trying to cover areas that are maybe a little bit more challenging for traditional Wi-Fi deployments. They need a little bit more coverage area. They need something outside of a traditional unlicensed spectrum. So I think that what they're trying to do with this Athonet acquisition is not only to augment their existing private LTE, private 5G offerings that they've been using through their partnership with Celona, but also to kind of get their way into that core carrier market. I think that that's something that a lot of companies are kind of eyeing now, because there's a lot of specialized hardware that goes into that market that is slowly starting to migrate to more of a commodity type offering, thanks to the work that's being done with things like 5G and Open RAN. Where this is a real value for HPE is all of that stuff is running on x86 servers. All of that stuff has become commoditized. All of these things are going to need to be consistently refreshed. If only I had a service that offered me x86 compute and was frequently refreshed and could expand my capacity whenever I wanted. Oh yeah, this makes a great tenant for GreenLake. That's the one of the biggest plays here, is that by offering this as an option for the core mobile provider market, you can effectively use them as an additional way to get GreenLake in there. Now, what does it mean for Celona ultimately? I don't know, because they're still going to be supporting Celona's customers, at least through the end of these existing contracts. And I think that the other thing is that gives Celona a little bit more freedom to kind of look around and see which companies are wanting to make that leap into the CBRS market, or maybe they're trying to play catch up with companies that have an existing relationship already. I would hope that that means good things for Celona in the future, because like I said, they're kind of one of the pioneers of CBRS. As much as Athonet's been selling into the core mobile market for over a decade, as soon as CBRS was announced as a standard, Celona was right there. I mean, you can go back to the Mobility Field Day website and see the videos that we recorded with them where they're kind of talking about this. So I think that this has some potential to give Celona some negotiating power as far as creating new partnerships, but also if someone out there is looking to pick them up, this could end up being a valuable boon overall. So I'm kind of curious to see because it sounds like HPE is going to start trying to integrate Athonet into their GreenLake offerings, and GreenLake is all over the press release. So I think what we're ultimately going to see is that this is a stepping stone to get into the core mobile market and kind of develop that as an offering under their umbrella.